Welcome to Felix. Felix is a personal trainer, a stuntman, and he owns Superflex Coaching and End Your Pain Academy, Coaching Academy. Welcome, Felix.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been in the fitness industry, and what sort of experience have you had, and what sort of clients have you had in the past?
Okay, so my journey in the health and fitness industry has been one that's evolved many times. So I started out covering my forte, which is flexibility. And that was back in 2012. I first started teaching classes, helping people with their flexibility, their range of movement, and so on. And that was particularly working with athletes, people who need a high level of flexibility, like martial artists, dancers, gymnasts, etc. From 2014, that's when I started to go a bit more online and work on an online program to help people again based on their flexibility. And it continued to evolve. So by 2016, I was more into the face-to-face field. I worked with a lot of CrossFit athletes then. Now, for those of you watching it who don't know, CrossFit is a high level of weight training, which meets gymnastics, which meets like metabolic conditioning.
I'm glad you explained that. I was going to ask what CrossFit was.
Yeah, a lot of injuries coming in, a lot of mobility needs for people. And so there was a high need for people to A, work on their flexibility, and B, prevent injuries and prevent pain from what they were doing. So I coach people with that. I would coach people through their through classes, through doing a number of private one-to-one stuff as well, and did very well with that. And a number of successful clients who were competitive and non-competitive. But then I started to realize where there was more of a need, which was in the business world, business and corporate world, where people are working for long hours, sometimes up to 20-hour days. And having to sit down for long times, where their posture is affected, where their back health is vulnerable, and expressing my need there. So again, I started out with a flexibility field, but then realized that people need a lot more than that. And then that's when I looked into functional strength and helping people with specific abilities, anything from walking upstairs to being able to do their favorite sport. And then more into the coaching side, so looking at lifestyle, which is what I work with a lot now, helping people with their sleep, their nutrition, eating patterns, for example, things that give them energy, and more recently, but quite a strong focus in the mindset coaching and helping people in terms of the right kind of thinking patterns that are going to help them be the best they can be, whether it's being a great parent, being a great CEO or a great member of their company, a great business owner, or just be able to enjoy the things that they do.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. So what inspired you to do what you do, and why do you do it?
Okay, so there's a couple of things there. As Nicola very kindly mentioned, I was trained stuntman. That is my original career, I suppose, and something I still pursue now. Now, this was something that I wanted to do from the age of 12. I was inspired by people on TV, the acrobats, the martial artists, and always wanted to do that myself. So that's how I pursued the stunt route. It was actually through the stunt training that I started to help more people. So people in the gymnastics field, they would look at how do you get flexible, how do you get the splits, how do you stay healthy and still look like a teenager, like I do now. I'm 29 for those people who don't know. And so I just started sharing people tips. And the more I help people, the more I realized I actually enjoyed helping people more than I enjoyed doing the stuff itself. And that was a big breakthrough for me, for someone whose literally life was doing the sport. So I'd help people a bit more, but it was only after my first business collapsed, one was in advertising, that I wanted to start a new business. And then I thought I'd go into the coaching field because that's what I was good at. And then I also wanted to be able to give back more to the world and to sort of help more people. So that's where I started to build that business. And again, like the breakthroughs I got, whether it was people who had major improvements on their mobility and flexibility, or whether it was people who recovered from serious injuries and were able to do many more things to their body. That really inspired me and continues to inspire me, is the journeys that people go through.
Well, I can personally testify to that. You've helped me immensely in my flexibility and mobility, so that I can definitely testify to. So you've mentioned briefly who are the type of people that you help. So what would you say specifically is your target market?
So at the moment, I help people mostly who are suffering from some kind of pain, whether it's back pain, knee pain, joint pains, headaches, usually in some kind of downward spiral in their health. So they might not have the fitness that they want to. Maybe they struggle to get upstairs. They might be feeling exhausted all the time at the end of the day. Perhaps they're not able to do the things that they used to do, like their favorite sports, their favorite hobbies, going on holidays, for example. So people who feel like they're in a little bit of a physical rut, and they're in that moment where they really need to make a life change and a major change in their health, but they're just not sure where to turn to. And perhaps they've had difficulty reaching out for support in the past, maybe things that haven't worked, and they need to get a helping hand to get the help they need. Typically, they tend to be men and women from the ages of 30 to 50. They're working either a stressful job or running a stressful business, and they spend long hours sitting in front of a computer. Now, common areas tend to be things like media and tech, because people there, it's very common to work 18-hour days. They might be in the finance industry or in the legal sector, but not necessarily. I've helped people with business. I've helped people from like PR, for example. So there's a big range of what kind of vocations will really benefit from my help.
Brilliant. I quite agree with that. So have you got any case studies that you can share with us that kind of highlight your work, really?
Well, I suppose the most special case study would be yourself, Nicola, and the journey you went through. But for the sake of variety,
yes,
I will explain one that I did with another client of mine. So his name was Ian. Now, Ian came with me for this very specific condition because he had early onset Parkinson's. So in his current state, he was barely able to reach past his knees when he touched towards his toes. He had a lot of stiffness and pain in his back and his legs, but most significantly, wasn't able to walk properly. Now, anyone who knows Parkinson's victim, this is a common thing that they might shuffle along, not find it very easy to walk. And as such, this can have a massive impact on the confidence. So this was something that Ian certainly experienced. He found it very difficult to get through his work and get the respect he wanted at work. So we needed to start work on that straight away. Obviously, his initial hurdle was getting some kind of support because he'd had support that hadn't really done much in the past. But he could see that I was slightly different. Most people do see that I'm a bit different than everyone else.
Yeah.
So we started to work on it. And within 4 weeks, he was walking normally. He didn't have such tightness in his legs. I would say now he's gone from barely being able to touch past his knees to now touching his hands fully flat on the floor. So his mobility has come up massively. He's now one of the top performers in his work. He's traveling all over the country, even out of the country, I think, to do talks, to write articles on his specialty field, which has really come from the physical improvement that he got that had a knock-on effect on his confidence. And that's, I think, what many people I work with really notice, is it's not just the physical change they see, but that confidence improvement that really does transform their life.
I would definitely agree with that. Personally, I had a similar thing as Ian, not being able to walk properly and bend over and all that sort of thing. And it just really, really helps, it gives you your life back, really. So how can people contact you, Felix, if they want this help from you?
Okay, so I'm a very personable person. I always like to reach out to people either face to face or over the phone. So those would be the best means. I'd say if you drop me a line on my contact number, it's 07504 142211. Hasn't changed in about 10 years, so there's a good chance to catch me when you watch this video. Otherwise, you can catch me on email. So my email is felix@superflexcoaching.com. You can also have a look at me on Instagram. So if you're looking to see me from a coaching field, it's at Superflex Coaching, which is SUPERFLEX coaching, COACHING. If you want to have a little bit of inspiration about what I do personally, you can have a look at my stunt profile. So that's at Flexi Felix Stunts, which is FLEXI Felix FELIX. With tongue twister, stunts, STUNTS. And you can see some of the things I do in my flexibility and the stunt work, things like the Star Wars jobs I've done, and so on. So no spoilers though, if you're watching the video before the film actually comes out. So yeah, have a look at those memes. I will be honest and say I'm not much of a website person, although obviously that's will be there down the line. But have a look at those social media channels. Drop me a line, whether by phone or by email, and I'm always willing to help out any way I can. Whether it's help I can support you personally, whether it's pointing you in the right direction, or recommending you to the right person for your needs.
Fabulous. And one more thing, you mentioned that you were a stuntman. Anything that you mentioned Star Wars, anything else that you've worked on? Anybody that you've met that you can go, oh, I've met so-and-so?
It's a great question. I had the opportunity to do a stunt double for Benedict Cumberbatch last year, I believe. And that was in the TV drama called Brexit. It was like a drama/comedy that was released early in January. I did a little bit of a stint on Game of Thrones, which many people are familiar with. Yes. Don't ask me which one, because it's a little bit unkosher. But that was in season 5.
I'm not through season 5 yet. I'm halfway through that.
Watch season 5, you'll see me in there somewhere.
All right.
And you can also look at the previous Star Wars films. I've done bits and pieces like Coronation Street. Did a very good show on Netflix. It's worth looking at. It's called Safe. I don't remember the actor's name, but he's the same actor out of Dexter. So if you know that show, you'll be able to look him up. And yeah, those are good ones to look at in terms of what I do. Oh, and also
there's a big one.
Most monumental is perhaps the bit I did in Paddington 2, a children's film where I got to be the legs of Hugh Bonneville. So if you watch that film, you're looking for something with flexibility in it, you'll see me somewhere. It's pretty hard to miss.
It's quite a good clip when you watch it. You think, oh, having watched it and having seen you do the splits, I can now recognise your technique.
Good. Yes. So yeah, have a look at that. At the time of recording, it's on Netflix. So have a look, and you may well see part of me on there at least.
Well, fabulous. Thank you very much, Felix, and lovely chatting.